In this video essay, I share my research and answers from Jack Barabee in an email interview about VR and AR technologies impacting game audio. I will highlight how VR and AR technology has affected game audio and how its development has led to the creation of new audio software, hardware, and the use of binaural audio in a video game. I aim to conclude my research to justify with evidence the positive impact of this ambitious technology and reason why AR and VR is great for innovation in the game audio industry, as it allows for a more immersive gameplay experience and unique artistic expression. Video game development is continuously striving for better hardware and graphical advancements that have led to beautiful and realistic computer generated illustrations in the video game industry. It seems obvious that if the visual representations of games are improving, other aspects that complement visual improvements must follow suit. Audio has been a crucial part of the computer and video game experience since the advent of arcade cabinet games. Over time, the state of computer audio has steadily improved, from simple wave generators to frequency modulation synthesis, evolving on to 8-bit mono samples and 16-bit stereo samples, culminating in today's 5.1 surround sound systems on modern gaming consoles. Since the development of 5.1 surround, little has changed. The fundamental technology of playing waveforms over speakers is the same, and the game playing environment is still primarily the living room or den with a large television and speakers. Virtual reality, however, is changing all this. Instead of a large environment with speakers, virtual reality brings the experience in close to the player through a head mounted display and headphones. The ability to track the user's head orientation and position significantly empowers audio technology. A research study by Pallavicini et al. On 24 adults playing a game called Smash It was conducted to assess different users' experiences with self-report questionnaires. They selected the game Smash It because it can be played with a VR headset, whereas the study would term it as the immersive modality versus the traditional non-immersive modality, such as a peripheral controller like a remote. A desktop with a mouse and keyboard was used as the non-immersive modality for this study. The test used this game's optional modality to research usability, emotional response, and sense of presence between the immersive and non-immersive modality. Upon collection and analysis, user self-report questionnaire suggested that users playing in the immersive modality associated with higher self-reported happiness and surprise. Users also reported that the perceived sense of presence was higher in the virtual reality condition, whilst the non-immersive modality user experiences reported lower immersion and presence perception. There were no statistical differences between the immersive and the non-immersive condition regarding usability and performance. Pallavicini et al. Concluded their study, stating that playing a video game in virtual reality was not more difficult than playing through a desktop display. Players showed a more intense emotional response, as assessed by self-report questionnaires, and with the heart rate and skin conductance as psychophysiological indexes, after playing in virtual reality versus after playing through the desktop display. The perceived sense of presence was found to be greater in virtual reality as opposed to the non-immersive condition. With studies like Pallavicini revealing heightened user experience in virtual reality gameplay, it's no wonder that VR has impacted growth in the video game industry and will most likely continue to grow. In an email interview with VR developer Jack Barabee, when answering my question on using audio for educational purposes in VR and AR games, similar to the Susan project by Embryonic, Jack replied saying there's no real difference whether audio is used for educational purposes or for other purposes. The reason why he believes it's so interesting to have any, including educational VR audio experience, is because of the ability to create lifelike scenarios. For example, in the Susan project, a lot of work went to make the virtual patient Susan feel like a real person through small audio cues, such as her filling some of the blanks in the participant's speech.
I tend to feel like dying all the time. But I only feel like killing myself when something happens.
This level of immersion has raised the standard for audio in games. According to the white paper, Virtual Reality Audio Overview, published by American technology company and VR developer Oculus, audio is vital for stimulating a cognitive perception of space to further immerse the user. Jack Berby responded with a statement whilst answering my question on whether there would be any negative impact on a game using audio as the main creative tool. His response resonates with this statement from Oculus's viewpoint on using audio as the main driving tool for play immersion, saying, "You wouldn't want to watch a movie with great audio but very poor visuals." He believes that VR and AR experiences are best realized when they don't prioritize one particular aspect of gameplay, such as the graphics, narrative, gameplay, or audio more than any other, as it would otherwise create an unequal user experience. And so the game industry has answered the call for a more immersive sonic experience with the introduction of game audio software used to implement audio into games. The software is known as audio middleware. Audio middleware lets users link sounds to game objects, scripted events, or in game areas to simulate acoustics. Where a programmer was once required for all this integration, this is no longer the case. Now, audio integration in video games has adopted the design of immersing the user or player in a virtual reality experience by using virtual reality technology with middleware to implement sound into virtual reality games. A perfect example of this combination of audio middleware and VR technology is Dear VR's Spatial Connect. Dear VR's Spatial Connect enables an optimized workflow for binaural, ambisonics, and loudspeaker output for virtual reality environments.
So we say that content creation has to take place within the medium. That means if you're mixing for VR, you have to be in VR, or if you're mixing for AR, you have to be in AR. So in this case, the Dear VR Spatial Connect that we're showing here at AES solves the problem that you put the headset on and you're completely within the experience that you want to mix. And you have all the sound sources on your digital audio workstation represented as a sphere within the simulation there. And then you can touch the sphere, move it around, change the direction, automate the positions, change the levels, change the acoustic details, so you can do everything you usually do in a mix within the medium.
Whilst implementing audio with Spatial Connect isn't considered an industry standard, Verbi has stated that he has never tested DVR but could see how it would resolve the majority of issues encountered with making this technology more accessible. However, Verbi does mention how middleware like Spatial Connect are either very easy to use but quite limited or very complex but with lots of depth. This may be true in Baraby's case, as the Spatial Connect manual states that Spatial Connect is a VR controller for a digital audio workstation and is dedicated to audio implementation for virtual reality experiences. To a VR developer, this audio tool wouldn't be of great use in creating visual assets for virtual environments. To producers, DJs, mixing engineers, and other audio professionals have praised Dear VR's simplicity and complete focus on soundscapes and outside VR experiences like music production, validating its use among industry professionals like Simon Franklin, Mark Daniel Nilsson, Trey Harris, Lee Slater, Stonebridge, and Michael Zimmerling, to name a few. The VR headset hardware is still undergoing development as specific audio related problems are being studied. A customized ambisonics based system, which has the advantages of both a head related transfer function based system and a motion tracked binaural sound based system proposal by Yao, suggests a system that would allow the location of a sound source being determined either by a computer or by natural recording, thereby helping digital content production for virtual environments. An ambitious form of VR inspired audio hardware were the OSIC 3D headphones. I say inspired because the OSIC 3D headphones incorporated the binaural system for virtual auditory space synthesis and reproduction proposed by Yao. The only difference in OSIC's 3D audio system was that these headphones were specifically made for instant calibration to the individual listener's anatomy through head-related transfer functions, thereby omitting the customary calibration tests users are often required to do before use with VR technology. This product would immerse listeners not only in virtual environments or augmented reality environments, it would also allow immersion in content like music and achieving theater listening experience from a phone screen or laptop when watching a movie. Unfortunately, the production of these headphones ended on May 19 in 2018. According to OSIC's Kickstarter campaign, the lack of funds to continue production caused by VR's slow start in the industry and a number of high-profile hardware startup failures made investors reluctant in OSIC's 3D audio endeavor. OSIC's shutdown goes to show how difficult it can be for new consumer technology to be established, especially in the early stage of a growing trend like VR. This could prove to temporarily halt the VR trend, as the expensive price point for ambisonic audio products like OSIC or Spatial Connect makes it accessible to only a small segment in the professional audio market. An example of an established augmented reality product is Bose's AR sunglasses with built-in Bose speakers for an immersive audio experience. The glasses are called Bose frames, and the augmented reality is experienced through audio only. An example of its use would be receiving audible directions from the sunglasses whilst worn. There are video games, namely Metal Gear Solid 5 and Grand Theft Auto 5 to name a few, that make use of the PlayStation DualShock 4 controller's inbuilt speaker to communicate in-game actions with the player, similar to Bose's AR sunglasses. An example of an AR feature would be the police radio in Grand Theft Auto 5 sounding off on the controller's speakers, radioing your last seen location.
Citizens reporting assault with a deadly weapon on
The audio features a game chooses to implement on the controller may vary in different games, but are often constantly heard because of repetitive actions during gameplay. This can counteract against play immersion, as some players find this audio feature as an annoyance or distraction. Fortunately, this audio feature is optional. Using hardware like VR and AR to enhance play immersion in the previous case studies seems to be a common method for games. However, there are games like Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice that have managed to use the ambisonic system as an integral part of gameplay and immersion without VR or AR hardware. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice uses binaural audio to emulate the protagonist hearing voices.
You will die here.
We'll all die someday.
It's getting dark.
I'll continue tomorrow.
You're afraid of the dark.
I'm being patient.
This feature of the game inherently immerses a player into the protagonist's mind in the game's narrative and creates a much more engaging experience during play. Counter-Strike Global Offensive uses head-related transfer functions to simulate sound source localization during play. This feature allows players to not only rely on seeing, but also brings listening as a crucial sense to exercise during gameplay. This feature enables players to meticulously search for or stealthily avoid the hostile antagonists. With all these attempts to further immerse the player, the use of VR for prolonged periods could induce side effects. A test study by Sharples et al. Has revealed that using VR can induce side effects like motion sickness if the user is not in control of movement in the virtual environment. With the use of binaural audio in a game like Smash Hit, audio could increase the chances for players to experience motion sickness as movement in the game becomes faster as the player progresses. This perceived sense of movement, coupled with audio translating the movement and speed increase, could make motion sickness occur more frequently. The impact of virtual reality and augmented reality can be seen having positive effects on game audio, with innovative game designs stemming from theories based on virtual reality and augmented reality to enable player immersion. In the case of the game Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, featuring binaural audio to immerse the player in the protagonist's mind, or Counter-Strike Global Offensive's head-related transfer function audio system, allowing players to use more of their perception and thus achieving a significant immersive experience.